Alright, let's see here. Make a left turn at that guy with the glasses, go east to 4chan, then think of something funky when you reach the singing bush and... I swear, they make these instructions hard to follow on purpose. Now, where am I? This certainly doesn't look like EQD or any help page. I'm sorry there.
I'm sorry there.
It's okay. Say, I haven't seen you around before. You new to the Brony community?
New to this analyst thing anyways. Named AJ, but I'm going as the Autistic pony. Say, you don't know where I can find Equestria Daily or something?
Equestria Daily, huh? No offense, but you'll never get anywhere with Equestria Daily or the analytical community without the ability to move.
None taken. It's not like it's untrue. I've been having loads of problems from day one. If it's not one thing, it's something else. Don't suppose you could help me out?
No problem. Helping a friend in need is what I do best. So, I'll fly you there.
What do I got to lose? Let's go.
Whee!
Oh. Huh? Oh, you are amazing! Is there any way I can repay you for this?
Well, I was going to review a Season 4 episode to pass the time for Season 5 to come around eventually. Would you like to do it together?
Sure. Say, I could be wrong, but do you have autism as well? I mean, I thought I read it on your profile page, but I've been wrong before.
Yes, I have autism. Asperger's syndrome to be exact.
You don't say. Same here. Well, in that case, I know it might be out of order, but would you be up to doing Flight to the Finish? It's one of my personal favorite episodes, and I've always wanted to talk about it from an Asperger's point of view.
Oh, I love that episode too. In fact, it is one of my favorite episodes.
Well, it's settled then. Let's get this started before we go over the time length most viewers click away from.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Hey everypony, Rosepal here. Welcome to a special episode of Brony Culture Stories, the show where I talk about everything My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Today I have a special guest to help me review the Season 4 episode Flight to the Finish. He is recently new to the fandom and he is one of my new subscribers. Please welcome AJ, aka the Autistic Brony.
It's pony, but tomato.
Tomato.
Yes! Yes!
Anyway, yes viewers, we are here to look at an episode that holds a special place in my heart. Flight to the Finish. Now, going into this episode from what we got at the Comic-Con Season 4 panel, I was really excited for the concept of this episode. It was always hinted at that Scootaloo couldn't fly, but the writers never called it out as it being a kid's show. Something about a fear of overstepping boundaries or yada yada yada. Angry parents, letterphobia. So, when I saw this clip and found the date it was coming out, I was both really excited and really nervous that the writers were going to attempt an episode like this. What about you, Rosie? What thoughts did you have on the episode and the whole Scootaloo disability thing?
Well, when I first saw the animatics for the episode, I was really excited to see how it would turn out. Now, when I knew it was going to focus on Scootaloo's struggles to fly, this was going to be an episode that reflects on the theme of disability so perfectly. So, let's start reviewing the episode. The episode starts when the CMC and the other fillies get a visit from Rainbow Dash and Miss Harsh Winnie.
Harsh Winnie. Don't know why, but she reminds me of my 3rd grade special ed teacher for some reason.
That's a good one. Anyways, she explains to the students about the upcoming competition to be the pony for flag bearers at the Equestria Games, being held at the Crystal Empire. This was obviously the continuity of the Equestria Games arc from Games Ponies Play back in Season 3. The CMC decide to participate in the competition after an inspiring speech from Rainbow Dash. And then they get the usual teasing from Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon for being blank flanks.
Yes, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. It's kind of a weird love and hate between these two for me. As a kid with ASD, I got picked on a lot by bullies like these two. Yet, through the conflict, much like the CMC, I became a stronger person by standing up to those bullies and made good friends out of it in a weird way. Does this make sense to you, Rose?
Yes, I understand how you feel completely. I used to get bullied at school because of my Asperger's syndrome, but throughout the years, I have met loads of people who had the similar diagnosis like I have, and you're here today. And if it weren't for them and my family, I wouldn't have graduated from my university.
Yes, indeed. And we see the CMC, particularly Scootaloo, get hit by one of Diamond Tiara's worst possible blows. Now, normally I wouldn't get too upset over what these two do, but here, they really sink to a new low for not just them, but for anybody.
That is quite impressive. Wait, what? Thanks? Oh, but of course, as a matter of fact, we think you're very brave. Brave? Why? Isn't it obvious? It is to us. In fact, it's obvious to every pony. You're showing all 3 types of Ponyville ponies, yet you have a Pegasus pony who can't even fly!
This is where the main conflict takes place. After showing their practice performance at their entry to Rainbow Dash, while she tries to remain professional for Miss Harshwinnie, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon pretend to be impressed by the performance. That is until Diamond Tiara really brings Scootaloo down for her wings, as she can't fly yet. Now this is why I hate Diamond Tiara so much, despite what Give and Take says. She is a filly who acts like a spoiled brat, and she teases the CMC, and she is portrayed as the popular filly who wants to get what she wants. This episode was her lowest as a character.
I don't hate her on your level. I still have to admit, Diamond Tiara is one of the worst tropes of the rich brat bully I've seen anywhere. So, with those hurtful words in Scootaloo's head, she convinces herself that the only way to win is to overcome her disability in one night. Both Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle seem DT's hurtful comments are taken too seriously, and I would call foul on this on the writer's part because how we saw them, mostly Scootaloo, stand up to Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon earlier. Yet, when it was as hurtful as something that's a personal issue, I can relate and understand Scootaloo's frustration. It does suck to have some sort of handicap, whether it be a mental or physical handicap, that makes life harder than it already is, especially when you don't have something that others take for granted. To be called out on something like that can really mess with a person, so much so in Scootaloo's case that she ends up working herself and her friends into the night.
Then the next day, the CMC have a little argument as the competition draws near. Both Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle finally admit to Scootaloo that they had enough, and they aboard the train to the Crystal Empire, leaving Scootaloo behind to wallow in her self-pity. Rainbow Dash asks them where she is, and they race both back to Ponyville to find her. This is where we see Scootaloo in her house, as she is distraught over her failure.
A wonderful display of show, don't tell, but I won't dwell on it since everyone else already has. Instead, the thing I want to focus on is the message.
But, Rainbow Dash, what if my wings never grow? What if I never fly? Listen, Scootaloo, maybe you'll fly someday, or maybe you won't. You're all kinds of awesome anyway.
Now this is where I think the episode for me goes from great to one of my favorite in the whole show. Instead of going the route where Scootaloo does overcome her disability at the end of the episode, or even where she accepts that she'll have to live with it her whole life, the episode leaves it open. Maybe she will fly one day, maybe she won't. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because whether or not she'll be a normal flying Pegasus, because at the end of the day, it's not the disability or lack of one that makes her special, but it's because she herself is awesome, and nothing will ever change that.
This is why I love this episode. The message here applies to me, you, and everyone who has Asperger's, or any type of disability, to play their part in any project they can take on, despite the differences. With us standing together, as well as the other ponies in the fandom, we can make a difference. The song Hearts as Strong as Horses showed a great sense of camaraderie and determination to reflect the CMC's destiny of finding their cutie marks, which will rise in the seasons to come. And this is why MLP is an amazing show to watch for people with Asperger's and others.
Yeah, pretty much what Rose said. And this is why, whenever someone asks me about the show and why I watch it, I'll point them to this episode and tell them, replace Scootaloo's inability to fly with whatever type of handicap or disability you might have. And you'll understand why I love this show so much. It's a show that can not only appeal to people like me and Rose, but to anyone who's ever had to struggle with something that holds them back and makes them different. Thanks for helping me out, Rose, and it was a blast reviewing this episode with you. Don't suppose we could do this again sometime?
You're welcome, AJ. I'd love to do another color with you in the future. I'm just glad to have you aboard. In fact, I'm going to take what we discussed today to my friend Dr. Wolf for his session. He would be interested in hearing what we discussed today. What do you think?
Dr. Wolf, eh? Sure thing. I'm a huge fan of his. Don't suppose you can get me in line for a moment with him? I have a lot of issues.
I'm sure whatever topic you like to discuss with him, I am certain he would like to speak with you. I'll ask him when I see him in the future.
Awesome. That takes care of most of my bucket list. Now only the rest of it to go. But now, I need to go work on my next video. If only I could figure out what goes on through the pink one's mind. Until then, I'm the Autistic Pony.
And this is Rosepal saying, see you later, every pony.
Okay, now to test out my new powers.
Powers?
Yeah, I think your little magic that gave me animation also gave me powers. Let's see here. Teleportation powers to Dr. Wolf's channel. Go!
I'm sure with some training he'll get there eventually. Let's see if Celestial or maybe any of my friends in the Rift can teach him to control his magic. Oh well, he seems like a nice guy. See you later, everyone.